Welcome folks once again to STARBUZZ Online. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Arshad Mahmood. Everybody knows him. He's a very famous personality. He's standing for his election in the by-election in Mississauga, Ward 4 for the councillor. And you can introduce yourself. आप जितना बोले उतना कम है.
Bhupinder Virdi, thank you very much for the kind introduction. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about what we have been talking for the last 12-15 years since we have known each other.
Yes.
We always talk about the city of Mississauga. We always talk about what's going on in the city of Mississauga, and how can we, being Canadian citizens and being Canadians of South Asian origin, basically, can contribute and become an active participant in the politics, social, community, cultural, economic, and all other aspects of life in the city. So thank you very much once again. You have already introduced me by saying that everybody knows him, and I hope you're right. But still, for those who don't, I would definitely like to talk a little bit about myself.
A little background about yourself.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
The name obviously is Arshad Mahmood, and my professional background is actually finance and banking. Approximately 24 years of banking behind me. Multinational experience, worked with multinational financial institutions in various countries in the world, starting obviously from Pakistan, where I originally come from. Moving on to Spain, Barcelona, Madrid, and then going on to UK, that's London, England. Moving to Miami in Florida, and then South America, Colombia, precisely. Speak a few languages. I have a professional level diploma in Spanish language as well. I've been in Canada since 1999, and in these past 16 years, I've worked for the most prestigious financial institution, one of the largest in this country, actually the largest financial institution of this country. And then later on, about 4 years ago, I decided that it was the appropriate time for me to take the next logical step and move on to the next level. So I started my own corporation for financial advisory, primarily working on mortgages in Mississauga and the rest of the GTA. My other introduction, which has nothing to do with my finance, is my passion for art and culture, and that's how you know me as well.
Which is, yes.
Which obviously is the one of the most important impressions I have in my life and in my personality, and it is owed primarily to my own passion as well as the influence from my wife, who is a practicing artist, visual artist, and who runs her own art gallery in Mississauga as well, Asma Arshad. And also Promenade Gallery. Yeah, it's on the Lakeshore Road. We can be held responsible also for starting innovative cultural and art-based projects in the city, Mississauga, starting from the Mosaic Festival, which in 10 years, by the way, we are completing 10 years.
10 years, that's a very good sign.
And Mosaic attracts close to 70,000 people in 2 days, and it encompasses every single possible form of art and culture, and presents it to a broader audience across communities, across cultures, in the celebration square, for which again I would like to most certainly have the claim that we were the people behind the idea of celebration square when the celebration square did not exist. We were the proponent for a space such as the celebration square, and we were the pioneers of starting the cultural festival, art and cultural festival in Mississauga, to make a difference in the social and community life of the residents of the city. And today, the Celebration Square receives over 1 million visitors each year. So yeah, I definitely...
And I believe it's helping in earning money for the city.
The economy of culture is extremely important, because if there is no economical impact, then the culture itself really doesn't work very well. If there is no economic impact, directly and indirectly seen on the balance sheet of the city at the end of the day, because we're creating opportunities economic opportunities for artists who would otherwise not have an opportunity to perform and get paid for that. The related and ancillary businesses, people who do event management, people who do stage, sound, light, technicians, staff of the city center primarily. So creating employment opportunities, providing also the opportunities to the economy of culture has benefited through the activities that, and I'm very, very proud to say that together with Asma, my wife, myself, with the support of people like yourselves and hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, a team of dedicated, hard-working professionals who have supported the festival, worked hard, and they are actually the people who I should be sitting here giving all the credit to.
I can vouch for it because I've been attending your Mosaic since 2006, I believe. I think I've hardly missed any. I don't think I've missed any. It's now on the calendar of Mississauga.
Yes, it is, and it's one of the festivals which has been grandfathered, and today it's the largest such South Asian festival in the whole of North America. So it's a respectable festival to go to, but the criteria of presenting this festival was not really, the festival was not the objective. The festival was just a means and a process which eventually resulted out in creating a community environment where you can go out, spend some time, and feel proud being part of the city and being a resident of the downtown core Mississauga, and to celebrate your culture. So that gives you the pride of ownership, that I live in the city, I own this city, this is my city, and there's so much going on here. Let me invite my friends from Chicago, from Detroit, from Cornwall, from different provinces, students. Each year, volunteer opportunities, community hours, which is a mandatory assignment for them to complete their curriculum.
While talking about, sorry to cut you, but while talking about volunteering, I believe you also got an award for volunteering.
I actually did.
You have received the Queen's Golden Jubilee Award also.
Yeah. The volunteer award was actually the Mayor Hazel McCallion's Volunteer of the Year award for 2012, which was extended to me as a recognition of the volunteer services that I have been indulged in and involved in, and opportunities that I created for the other volunteers as well. And I'm humbled to say that yes, these services really were recognized at a different level of the government as well, and federal government. A representative, actually one of the MPs, recognized that and presented me with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal as well, which was in 2013.
Well, Arshad, let's talk about the elections now. What is your platform? What are your views on it?
Municipal elections, right? Municipal elections, City of Mississauga, just to give you a little rundown on the City of Mississauga and the council setup first. These are 11 wards, each one with a population of approximately 1/11 of the city. Mississauga happens to be the 6th largest city in Canada. The Ward 4, which is the city center, and adjoining areas, seat became vacant. It was declared vacant when Mr. Frank Dale, who was the incumbent and who again had gotten re-elected for the nth time last October to the city council, actually opted to move on and went on as the councillor to the city of Mississauga and the region of Peel as well.
Yes.
So those elections were being held. Emmett Cole, who was the regional chair, was retiring. So Frank Dale went in and got elected as the regional chair. So he moved on. The city council had two options to exercise. One was to either nominate somebody to become for the remaining period of the term, or hold a by-election, which obviously eventually represent a cost, and that cost goes on obviously to the taxpayer,
yes,
indirectly or directly. But considering that there were almost 4 more years to go in this term, remaining time was significant. So they took the decision of not nominating somebody but holding a by-election. So this is a by-election. The date for the by-election is 27th of April, And the advanced polls will start probably on the 13th and 16th and 19th in various locations. There are 6 polling stations in the city. All the information is available on mississaugavotes.ca, or actually even before, I would ask you to go to that website, go to my website, which is Arshad number 4, ward number 4.com, and through those links you can actually go on and see all the information on the city website and everything else, and all the information. People can contact me, write to me, and we can talk about it. As far as the platform is concerned, so my primary platform is we want to continue making Mississauga a better city to live. We want to achieve, create, and build upon that pride of citizenship that we have attempted to create so far. We want us to take the ownership of the city. So primary objective, I want to be the voice of the residents of the Ward 4. Why do I want to be the voice of the residents of Ward 4? It is apparent in the work that I have performed so far in the Ward 4. It's very close and near and dear to my heart, and very few people know when I moved to Canada, my first house that I bought was actually in Ward 4. So I had the experience.
Yeah, I think you were in Mississauga Valley Boulevard.
Exactly, Mississauga Valley Boulevard area. So I was actually living on Central Parkway and Bloor area. So that intersection, Cliff Road North, that's where I lived. My little daughter, who was little at that time, went to Silverthorne, and then she went to Briarwood, and then they were both for the exceptional student program. So she went to both those schools, which are in Mississauga Valley and on Silverthorne. So I'm familiar. I know like the back of my hand most of the areas, because it's a very unique ward. The central downtown core is an upbeat, trendy, relatively newer condominium living lifestyle kind of a dwelling area. And the rest of the area, the adjoining places which are part of the Ward 4, are more traditional, settled down, laid back kind of areas where the people, mature neighborhoods, and people who've been living there for a number of years, they're set and settled in certain ways and patterns of their lives, and they would want to continue. For them, there are 2 unique sets of opportunity that I see. So one is the central downtown core, which has a completely unique characteristic, and similarly they have their own issues, and this portion of the Ward 4 has its own advantages, its own pluses and minuses, and its own goals to achieve. And the rest of the Ward 4, which is actually for them things which are important, can also be similar to any other ward. For people living in downtown core, other importances, priorities and preferences, and for the people in outside downtown core, they want to be sure that their property values remain good and high, and they continue to go up as they do in the rest of the GTA. They want to make sure that the property taxes are, one, they don't go up the way they feared that they might. At the same time, we want to make sure that the money which is collected through the property taxes is not used for major infrastructure funding, because infrastructure funding is something which is going to end up in a hike in property taxes, and we want to keep the property taxes at the lowest possible level wherever. They are also concerned about, and I've been going door knocking, and people talk to me and they say, and the question that I ask is, what do you have in mind? What would you want me to go and talk about in the city council and stand for and fight for? So I say, well, property taxes, value for properties. They are concerned about garbage collection. Region of Peel is now coming in with a new idea of garbage being collected with a different frequency and
bins and
exactly all those bins and everything. So they are concerned whether the routine or their habits of garbage, they have to change their pattern will be impacted, because there's also about a couple of years ago when there was flooding, lots of basements got flooded. So we have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We have to take the necessary measures. And
even you suffered, I believe.
We did in our art gallery. Lots and lots of valuable artwork was completely destroyed, and no insurance covered that. So I understand what it means when your basement gets flooded, because I've had the experience firsthand. At the same time, they also want to continue living in a safe and comfortable environment, which is secure as well. They're not very comfortable in an environment which is being changed at a rapid pace. And at the same time, community safety. So community safety, for example, and let's talk about Mississauga Valley Road, and I've talked about it so many times whenever somebody asks me, what do I mean by community safety? And I say, listen, there is a community center, the largest community center in the area is Mississauga Valley Community Center. And there is hundreds and hundreds of townhouses in front, but can you imagine there is no crosswalk? So people from those townhouses cannot cross the road and go into the community center. Imagine minus 47 degree. Imagine a 65 years old senior. Imagine he wants to go to the library or he wants to go to the community center to spend some time there. He lives 100 yards in front of the right opposite, hang on, the other side of the road. He cannot cross the street and then go in there. If so, my primary platform is I want to be the voice of the residents of this area in their own unique ways, dealing with their own unique issues and their problems, and carrying it effectively to the city council, and then effectively advocating that too. So it's not just carrying it there, it's also effectively advocating it and making sure that all the necessary information and disclosures are there, so a proper discussion or debate can take place and a favorable decision can be obtained. So that's my primary platform.
That's good, that's good. What are your views on diversity? Arshad, I know that you're multinational character, and you have certain views. So I would like the listeners and viewers to have a...
We are extremely fortunate to be living and being the citizens of this country which we call Canada. And Canada is a country which is made by the immigrants. And when immigrants come into a land, they bring diversity with them. Now what you do with that diversity after they have landed is something else. So there is a United States example where there's a melting pot. So all the people who come in, they become American, and then all the individual diversities are basically left behind, or they all become secondary, and then the American personality takes over. So diversity is not really that visible or apparent when you talk about the melting pot philosophy, which is the US. On the other hand, when you come to Canada, Canadians are able to continue living that kind of level of their personality, which was their own unique characteristic, the heritage, the culture, the art, the language, the clothing, everything that they bring with them. So they're able to continue carrying all those assets and properties with them.
So here it is like a mosaic.
You said the word, and that is the reason why we call the festival Mosaic, because it is a mosaic. It is not a mixture of colors, it's a combination of colors. So we combine those small little personalities and those identities and all those cultural elements, and we are creating a Canadian culture out of all those. So the evidence is in the proof is in the pudding, as they say. The evidence is that you go to a mainstream store and a grocery store, and you will find samosas there.
Yes.
Samosa is not a product of the land of North America. It's a product of India and Pakistan. We brought it with us, and now it is as Canadian as coffee has become. So I don't know a single Canadian friend or acquaintance who doesn't know what a samosa is.
Exactly.
Right? So we are creating a culture in Canada which is as diverse as those 200 plus ethnicities and colors and races and creeds and cultural backgrounds where people are coming from. We are all Canadians, so these personalities exist simultaneously. We are Canadians, we are proud Canadians, but at the same time we are Canadians of South Asian origin, which is our cultural diversity and which is playing a very, very important part in this country of ours, which we call Canada. At the same time, please don't get me wrong when I talk about cultural diversity, because people have asked me many a time that what's your view about the representation of diversity in the city council? It's a city which is over 800,000, or close to 800,000.
I was about to ask you this.
Yeah, the large population. There is at least a 12% population of South Asians. Why we don't see a South Asian in the city council? And I have a very simple answer. I think the diversity, inclusion, or representation of diversity to be included in public offices must be an organic process and not a scientific process. It should not be induced, it should happen. Which means when we as immigrants to this country, once we understand, once we have gone and developed our personalities and our skill set and our knowledge base to that level that we can demonstrate that we can be an active participant in the political process, and then people at their own will elect us, and we reach out and we go and we talk to people and we tell them that here we are and this is what we are able to do, like any other political aspirant does. There is no reason why diversity should not be apparent in the city council. It will automatically become available. It should be an organic process. Let it happen. And once this happens,
in due course.
This due course could be tomorrow. Now here's an example. I'm sitting right here. I am contesting elections. And there isn't another Pakistani origin or South Asian origin person, a Canadian, on the city council in Mississauga. I'm the first one. And I aspire to be there. And if everybody supports me and I continue getting the support that I am at this time, I have no doubt that I will be. And once I do, this is a diversity representation as well, automatically, but consequent of a certain process and not being the objective itself. So diversity representation is not an objective. The objective is effective representation of the city, of the resident of the city of Mississauga. And then eventually, if it does so happen that it's a South Asian who is representing it, then be it.
So be it. Arshad, now that we're talking about diversity, there's this religious aspect which is quite prevalent in Canada, the hijab issue, or what are your views on that religious aspect?
I will give you two answers to this question. My first answer would be that this is not a municipal jurisdiction.
Yeah, but just want
issue.
To have your view on it.
But to give my personal view on the hijab aspect, I feel that people must have freedom of expression, freedom of living their life the way they want to live, freedom of doing exactly what they want to do, and the Charter of Rights of the United Nations determines very clearly that a person has the right, a fundamental right, mind you, not acquired, it's fundamental. It's not just a privilege which is being offered by somebody. So they have a right to adopt, practice, preach, and live the religion they so desire. So I believe in that completely, that if somebody wants to wear a hijab, be it. Somebody does not want to wear a hijab, then be it. It really is not material when it comes to doing business in the country, or living or being a resident or a citizen of a country. Where it does matter is when it starts getting into conflict directly and impact any practice that impacts any other practice or any other citizen, or infringes the right of any other citizen, then it does become an issue. So as long as I am living my religion or my belief or my faith the way I wish to, but it does not conflict with somebody else's faith and it does not impact it, I think I should be free to practice what I feel, given that caveat, obviously.
Very well said, Arshad. Finally, anything you would like to tell our viewers about the elections? And I think you have your advanced polling also?
Yes, my message and my request to everybody who's watching, your viewers, would be, voting is not a privilege only. It is a privilege, but it is not a privilege only. It is your responsibility as well. Being the citizen of a democratic country and a democratic city, you cannot be represented by anyone else but your representative. And if you do not go out and wait, the person who is sitting in the city council cannot effectively represent you because he is not your voice. So my first request will be to understand and accept the reality, which is in a democracy, you got to go out and vote. If you don't vote, you cannot elect your representative. So elect your representative. Elect the person who you consider will be worthy of your vote, can carry your voice, knows you, understands you, at the same time knows the area, understands the area, and not only making promises but also has delivered results in the past. So you can quantify, you can actually measure, you can use a benchmark to see how worthy of your vote that person is. Has he or she delivered in the past? Is he just jumping from one ward to the other ward because he didn't get the number of votes to get elected in one ward, so now he wants to try his luck in the other? No. Take a look at the people. Talk to them. When they come to you, ask questions. Tell them what is important to you. But above all, go out and vote. Advanced polls will start on 13th of April. Again, the information is available exactly on the city site, mississaugavotes.ca, or you can go to my website or call me over the phone or get in touch with me by email. What I am requesting you is important to you. You moved to this country, or even if you did not, your parents did. Now you are a Canadian, or you were born a Canadian. You have to make a difference in this country. I want you to go out and vote for the right reasons always. Not because I'm your friend, not because I am your cousin, not because I speak the same language that you do, but because I stand for the same reasons that you do. That will be my message. So once again, I'll give you my website. It's www.arshad4ward4.com. My email is arshad4ward4@gmail.com. I have telephone lines which are open and active, and you can call me 416-388-9596. Follow me on Twitter, Arshad4ward4, or come to me on the Facebook, like my page, Arshad4.
Thank you so much, Arshad, and we wish you all the best for the
Thank you very much. I really appreciate, and more than that, I need your vote as well. So tell everybody about it.
Thank you. That's all for tonight, folks. Good night.